Okay, here's a navigation exercise, and remember, this is not just an exercise in the abstract. You have to use what you learn here and read and the links I give you to learn more to build navigation on all your pages. Navigation goes into each of the HTML documents, pretty much identical in each one. Once you get one right, you just cut and paste it, copy and paste it into the others, and it's all controlled by the same CSS. This exercise is due right away, due Tuesday of week 5. Instructions about stuff you should read. Please read through this carefully. Read through all this information carefully, including there's a bunch of other general instructions at the bottom of this exercise. Not just the exercise, there's even more. Create these folders and download that file to start with. And now, like before, I'm going to suggest that you may certainly use these instructions and print them out or whatever you do, but more than that, I want you to play along with me and watch what I do in this demonstration. And here's the file. Let's run it. What you actually have here is 3 sets of navigation. So I'm going to do it 3 different ways. I'm going to do it one way, and then I've given you the code also for 2 others. 2 other systems or methods. And you'll see this is the first one. It says right here, use this for navigation exercise. And this is just called nav. Then I have another chunk which is called nav1. Right? And then I have another chunk which is called nav2. And you can look through those also. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, the instructions say to remove the bullets from the list. Now, bullets are a product of the list items. So we're in the list item area right here, okay? Here we are. And I'm going to type in here this is going to all affect nav, so it's going to be hashtag nav li, so the descendant selector says to list items, only list items that are within the nav, the thing called nav. Oops, I already did that part, sorry. That's why I've got that there. Okay, yes. And then list style type is the command none. Semicolon. Let's save that and run it. So the first thing we do is remove the list items. Good, we did that. Okay, next we're going to remove the padding and the margins from the list. We're going to set a size on the element so we can move it around and center it. Use the auto centering technique. So we're going to use we're now talking about the UL itself, right? The actual list overall. And it's going to be padding 0 and margin 0 auto 0 top bottom auto right left, and width, I'm going to give it a width. Now the number that you use is going to be, when you're actually working this stuff on your own site, you're going to be doing some trial and error with some of these numbers to make things fit. Your type will be different, your boxes will be different, and so on. 350 pixels. Okay, so what did I do? The UL is the whole list area. It's now been brought over here and centered and given width. But it doesn't look centered, but it's because it includes all this size here, which is blank, right? Okay, let's continue along. Now we're going to float the list items. So we're in the LI again. And we're going to say float left. We don't have to identify in individual ones. Each one of them is going to float left. Float left, float left, float left, float left. That means they all kind of line up next to each other. There we are. And now that has happened. We have each of these has become its own little, has been floated to the left. But you see there's no space between them or anything. Okay, next we have to make these links, these little anchor elements themselves, display as blocks. so we can set dimensions and style them. Also, we have to set some margins to separate them, so we and some padding for later if we're going to inset them a little bit. So we're going to have to give this some display block and sizing and so on. So here we go. This is going to be the nav A. So this is going to all affect the A. Okay. So we're nav A. Here we are, and we're going to say display block and margin 5px. You can change these numbers as you wish. Padding 5px. Good. And text decoration. That's the underlying, right? None. So save that and run it. Okay, some good things have happened. The text decoration went away. We started to get some space around these, right? That's all fine. But what happened here? This is a float drop. Why? Well, we just pulled 350 for the total width of the thing just out of the air, kind of. But obviously that wasn't enough. So let's change the width back here to 370. And that's better. And frankly, you could stop right here even. Imagine a little text link styling. You'd have to do more of the link styling, of course. But you don't have to do a lot of fancy boxes and so on. So we're going to add more styling to the links. There's lots we could do. We could force capitalization. We could add letter spacing. We could add bolding. We could do all kinds of things. We're going to add the link styling for static and hover and focus. We don't want visited. I'm kind of on number 7 now if you're following along on the other assignment sheet. But we may want to do the you are here effect. It's important we keep this link styling separate from our regular link styling. In other words, remember, you've got all these, this A hover, A focus, the LV, so on and so forth. Lord Voldemort fights Harry alone. You got all those things for all your regular links, right? But this has to be separate. The way to make it separate is, in the order in the CSS, you put your nav link styling at the bottom and put your regular link styling somewhere above it. So the order matters, right? It's more specific also, so it should be fine even without the order, but that's generally the philosophy behind it. So what are we going to do? We have to get to the nav A. We're in nav A right now. So let's go ahead and add a color and a background color. Okay. Hashtag 000, sure. And let's make the background color. And you can read this in your instructions if you want. I'll try to type it here. Hashtag. We do all caps for hex, although we don't really have to, but we just do out of tradition. F-A-F. That's a 0, remember, not an O. E6, semicolon. And, we can look at that. So this is put a black text and a white background on those individual items, right? Okay, that's fine. But so far nothing happens otherwise, because we can hover over them, nothing happens. Good. And what else will we do? Now we're going to say, what about the hover and the focus? They'll be treated the same way. Let's give it a color. Again, of same. Well, let's just copy this and paste it in here. And we're going to give it a background color, but it's going to be different. It's not this background color. It's going to be AD. (8F6D). And we're going to do the same stuff right here. And our hover and focus are the same. We don't really need active, and we definitely don't want visited for navigation. All the regular links, yes, you do, but not for this. So let's go ahead and give this a run. Okay, what happens on the hover? So we've got a hover color. Now, you know what might be nice is if the text turned to white instead of black at this time. This isn't part of your instructions, but I think we could just do it, right? We could just say white, or you could do FFF if you want, right? Now when I hover, and that idea of switching text and background color is an interesting one. Okay, good. So what do we want to do? We could stop right there, or we could work on a color bar for the div. And by the way, you didn't have to do that white thing. So let's go ahead and do a color bar for the div. So this is going to be under the plain old nav. This is going to affect the entire div, right? Background. Let's say tan. You can get more specific if you want to. Overflow auto. Now you should read about containing floats. Everything in this little div is floated. Well, let's see. Well, I'll tell you. We'll see what happens if we don't do it. And we're going to give it a padding of 5px top and bottom, and 0 right and left. There you go. Okay, so what happened? This color we wanted is up here, right? Why is it there? Well, it's because everything in this div is floated. And if everything in a div is floated, we get something called a float containment problem. And the float collapses, essentially. So, how do we handle that? This is in your text, and this is what I was just showing you a minute ago. Overflow auto is the trick. Read about that in your text. Okay, so now we've got a color bar. We could put rounded corners on things and do other fancier things. And we've got our hover on here. That's all great. This will, if I click on any of these, they won't work because they're not going to go to the correct page. But let's go ahead and do a you are here effect. Okay. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and pretend get some feedback to the user to make sure they know when they're on the home page. They are on the home page. It's already used, like it's kind of like a visited, except we don't want visited. We want the home page to already be highlighted because that's where we are. But then when you go to the experience page, you have to change the HTML to make it work that way. You know, I'm down here in the HTML now to show you. In this div, I gave this first li an ID of home. You know what? I want to change it. I want to change it to here. That would make more sense to call it here. And let's go up to the CSS, and we'll change in the nav area. Ooh, where were we working? Floating positioning, navigation. Okay, here it is. Let's change it to here. Okay, good. So the link with an ID of here is going to get a special styling. What is it going to be? It's going to be the same thing as the hover. So we're going to grab this hover stuff. So it's going to look like the here is always hovered. So it's already hovered. The other ones will work when I hover over them. Now I would change this you are here effect to experience and then to education to samples on those other pages. Okay, and to finish up, that's about the exercise, except I've given you a bunch more navigation, which you can release now. This explains, this is from the first one. We did the first one. The second one is from Genware, and I'm going to release it. Here's this, and this comment. I'm going to save that, run it. It's a different, whole different plan, and it works in a different way, and it was constructed in a somewhat different way. And we'll go on to part 2 in just a moment.